Hi! I thought I'd make a little bit of a different video this time and tell you about my knee surgery story. I hope it helps someone. I've always been very bendy. When I was little, I'd love to freak people out by popping out my shoulder or bending my arms in a funny way. Sometimes I'd even bend in ways that I didn't realise weren't normal. It definitely freaked out a few people. When I was around 7, I was on my scooter. It was a nice warm day and we were headed back home when suddenly a sharp, scary kind of pain shot through my knee. After a few minutes, I felt a little better and we made it home. It wasn't till I got back that I started to wonder what went wrong. Even though nothing like this had ever happened to me before, I somehow knew it had something to do with my kneecap. I went on with my life until one day, a little while later, it happened again. I'm not really sure which kneecap it was this time, but one of the two popped out. Little by little, it happened more and more. I'd be running and suddenly out it would pop. And each time, I heard more and more of a kind of stretchy, crackly sound during each accident. Before I keep telling this story, I just want to say that I'm so extremely, unbelievably grateful for every single doctor, nurse, physio, everyone out there, everyone who's taking their time to help out others. If I've ever had any negative experiences, that doesn't mean that all doctors, nurses and healthcare workers are like this. These were isolated events and most likely caused by some of the problems that the NHS was and is still going through today. They're unbelievably amazing people that we're so blessed to have. So with that being said, I saw many GPs and many more physios, and for some reason, most didn't believe that there was even a problem. Most recommended gentle exercises, and I found out later these exercises, some of them even made things worse. And they said that it probably wasn't anything horribly bad, so they didn't need to do any kinds of x-rays or MRIs or anything like that. Just wait and see what happened. One lady laughed at that little 7-year-old, saying that if it was anything really serious, I'd be screaming and in pain during the accidents, which I was. But I guess she didn't believe me. As the years went by, I gave up trying to fix it. Sometimes I'd see someone. There was this one guy who suggested to take the top part of my leg off and twist it to stop my leg from going inwards. That's like saying you should cut your arm off just because your elbow popped out, or saying that because your eyes need glasses you should get a face transplant. It's crazy. Thankfully, God stopped all of that from happening, but I still needed help. I was well into my teens by then. I had to wear braces a lot, not because they helped, but just to let people know not to crash into me and to also remind me not to do anything crazy. By then, most of the ligaments that helped my kneecaps stay in place were shredded. I had to walk very carefully. I couldn't run or jump or do anything like that. This is the point when most people would feel completely hopeless. I'd spent so many years angry at the doctors that didn't seem to want to help, and scared that I'd have to live my whole life like this. At that point, when things seemed the worst, God taught me the most important things. He didn't teach me how to operate on myself. He taught me how to forgive. One day, I can't remember when or how, but he showed me that I just couldn't hold this against people anymore. It was hurting me and it was hurting others holding on to this anger. Little by little, he helped me let it go. It hurt a lot sometimes. Sometimes we use anger and fear as a kind of safety blanket. We think we have the right to be wrapped up in it, that if anything bad happens to us, we're kind of supposed to be upset. It's like our right to be upset. We feel safe already having a shield of resentment wrapped around us, but that shield never helped me, not once. It only made things worse and put me in a cage. When he helped me forgive those people, I was finally set free. My body may have still been in a cage, but my spirit wasn't. I gained a new, true kind of freedom, one that the world could never ever buy. And in this, a new foundation, a new kind of door was opened to this becoming a strength. I had gained this new freedom, but the physical clock was still ticking. My knees started popping out once or twice a week, even when I was as careful as I could be. One day, when I was around 15, 16, something like that, we were rushing for the bus. I was an absolute idiot and thought, you know what, for once I'm going to try to run. Guess what happened? My kneecap popped out. This time was very, very different. The pain lasted more than 10 minutes. A nice man who I'll never forget brought some ice. He said, "Should you call an ambulance?" For some reason, those words just stuck in my head. We never used to go immediately because once the kneecap is back and the pain is gone, there's not much they could do aside from follow-up appointments, which I was already doing. We went to A&E and they gave some painkillers that helped a lot. This next bit of the story may sound insane. I still can't believe it myself. Basically, a nurse peeked his head through the curtain. He said, "Excuse me, I was meant to be off my shift about half an hour ago, but I heard about your case. Did you know that there's a specialist meant to be one of the best in England? And she specialises in exactly what you're going through right now. She doesn't have many appointment slots, but I'll give you her name and you could try." We went up to the receptionist and at first there were no appointments, but she was so nice and said that she'd slot us in anyway. As a little side story, I'd like to add that we finally got to have the Five Guys burger that we'd been running to the bus for in the first place. As I walked in on crutches, we explained to the guy that even though I'd had an accident, all we could think about was the burger. And after about 5 hours, it was more than worth the wait. He gave such a funny smile and gave us free drinks. It was awesome and completely worth it. 10 out of 10 would do it again. The day finally came. I remember it super well. It was beautifully sunny. I was in the car and I prayed something that, strangely, I never had before. Instead of praying, "Please give me a surgery to fix this. Please let them help me," instead of begging for my own plan, I prayed this: "God, I let go. I give it all to you. If this is your will for her to help me, please let her help me. But if not, then don't let it happen. I'm not going to fight or force my own plan anymore. I trust you. Take it all." It felt so free, letting go and not relying on what happened that day. We walked into her office, and within the first 30 seconds, she told me exactly what was wrong, in great detail, something I'd waited about 8 years to hear. What's wrong with my knees is that where most people have a groove to keep their kneecaps in place, I have more of a slope. And the ripping sound I heard during the accident was the tendons that tried to hold my kneecap down ripping. I also had a tiny bit of patella alta, which means that my kneecap was slightly higher than it should be. If I'd heard about the surgery to fix this even a year earlier, I couldn't have had it, since it would have possibly damaged my knee's growth plates. I found out about this surgery exactly the time I needed to, from an amazing surgeon who was more than willing to help. After many appointments, MRIs, and an awful lot of prayer, we decided to go ahead with the surgery. God made the months and weeks leading up to this such a beautiful time. He even won us tickets for something just before the surgery. And he just brought beautiful people into my path that helped me feel ready for the operation. There were moments that I did feel worried that I shouldn't get the surgery, that I should trust God to heal it instead. I lived under condemnation, thinking that I was doing something wrong by having the operation, that God uses so many different things to bring us into the blessings He has for us, even surgery. He brought me to an amazingly spirit-filled Christian couple. When I told them what was going on, I think they even laughed. It was so obviously the enemy. When I spoke all of this out, we welcomed God's light into those places instead. If you're ever feeling trapped like that, please speak things into the light. God loves talking to you. He loves bringing light into those dark, cramped places that we think are unreachable. And He loves using other people to do it too. So it's always worth speaking to someone that you know brings His light into situations like that. The stage was set. I had packed a nice bag of treats. The morning came and off I went to the hospital to get the first of 2 surgeries done. It was a beautifully peaceful, wonderful morning. What the surgeon did was take the cartilage, the little cushion on top of where my groove should be, off. She then made a groove and put the cartilage back on top. She then took a tendon from below my knee and used it to tie my kneecap down, kind of like pitching a tent. The surgery took about 4 hours, something like that. I was very grateful and unbelievably blessed to have amazing loved ones who helped me at the hospital. It was a very strange thing made into a nice, fun experience instead of an awful one. We watched movies, had nice chats, slept for unbelievable amounts of time, and had more of a holiday than a hospital stay. On the first surgery, I was out of the hospital in half of the time I needed to be there for. And after my second surgery, which was about 2 years ago, less than that. The recovery has been insane and a true miracle. If you're curious about what recovery for that kind of surgery is like, because I was too, in the first part of recovery, for a few weeks, you have to use this machine that bends your leg up and down. This is because of the swelling. I can't remember how long after the surgery, but I think it was about a week. I started physio. The thing is, your body is so clever. When your body thinks it's been hurt, it reacts in the best way it can to protect you. In this case, it thought that shutting down some of the muscles in my leg would keep it safe. In physio, we were reminding the muscles how to work again, letting them know that it was safe to wake up. We used exercises and even this funny electric machine that contracts the muscles for you. It wasn't as bad as it looked. It was kind of funny to see my muscles contracting without me doing anything. For me, recovery was so fast that the physio kept saying, "Wow, you must have been doing your exercises a lot," when in truth, I hadn't really been at all. But don't tell anyone. It was all honestly God healing me. I even got to go to this little event with my friends only 3 weeks after the surgery. I was supposed to be fully reliant on crutches, but honestly, I didn't even end up needing them most of the time. It was a true miracle. Ever since these surgeries, I've gained a freedom that I never ever thought I could. I've done so many things that I never thought I'd be able to. I walk without fear and forget sometimes that this even happened. All I ever wanted for my knees was for them not to pop out ever again. And God more than answered that prayer. He's El Roi, the God who sees me, the God who sees all of us. I may still be in pain sometimes, but I know my Father. He's a God of abundance, love, peace, joy, and healing. I know that it's His plan, His design for me to be 100% better. I know that one day He'll help me with this pain too, but in the meantime, I give it all to Him. I trust Him, and I know that His blessings never end, and His presence is worth more than words could ever do justice. It's all His, and I'm just enjoying the ride, because it's one crazy ride. I hope this testimony helps in some way. God's healing is for you. If I can't, You definitely do. It may not always happen in the time or the way that you expect, but your healing, your victory has been won for you already. And the journey is one that, in the end, you'll say you'd go through 10 times again just to see God's amazing presence and plan come to pass. I look forward to God increasing His presence in your precious journey. If you would like any prayer, advice, or just someone to talk to, please write it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day. God bless you. Bye.